So namaste everyone. Thanks for coming to class, our online class. So hope you've had a really nice day. I've had a really busy day today. So what I'm hoping to do is I don't have a plan. I haven't had time to put a plan together, but I'm seeing that as an opportunity to not be too rigid in my practice. And so I'm going to invite you guys just to come along with me and just open up the body and just prepare myself for sleep tonight. So I'm predicting it's going to involve a little bit of mobility work, just because my body feels tight from being busy and working all day. I'm a remedial massage therapist, so tight through the arms and shoulders, and just a bit weary from that. So what we're going to do is, we'll see how it pans out. So to begin with, though, I think we'll start down in our back, and we'll just check in first. Okay, so come down to your back. If you have a block and a belt, that's also going to be really handy, I think. Okay, so just for a few moments, just rest the hands on the front of the ribs. And just take a couple of nice deep breaths. Just let the mind and the body know you've landed on your mat. Just observing the breath as it enters and leaves the body. So we're starting to begin the process of observation, bringing our awareness away from the outside world and all the things that have gone on today and what's been going on. And now the focus is on the breath, on the movement of the body. And you're doing this practice in the service of your well-being. So just deepening the breath. You can place the hand on the abdomen, one hand on the chest if it feels good for you. And just start to take a nice deep breath in through the nose, down into the abdomen, feeling the breath rise up into the chest. And then exhale, just let the chest and rib cage soften, let the face relax, just let that breath out. Inhale, breathing in. Exhale, breathe out. Just do that a few times. Taking one last breath there. Just placing the hands next to the body with the palms face down. And what I'd like you to do is flatten your lower back on the ground and just curl your tail under and slowly roll the spine up one vertebra at a time, coming up into a temporary bridge. And then just letting the spine uncurl, so feeling the weight come down through the upper back first and then the middle back, lower back, and then release the hips, release the coccyx to the floor. Just try and keep the face and neck real soft here. We're going to do this a few times. So tuck the tail under, flattening the lower back out on the ground, rolling up through the lower back, middle back, upper back, and then we're in bridge. Just pausing in bridge. So this is a really good, nice way to just help each part of the spine move segmentally. So just coming down now just through the upper back, middle back and lower back when you're in your own time, not that quick. So I'm just feeling like, just because of a big day at work, the spine is coming up again. The spine is just feeling a little bit more rigid than usual. And if I can get some fluidity and movement through that spine, it'll just help me not be so rigid through the other parts of my body as well, because the nervous system and all the branches of the nervous system exit through that spine, and if any part of that spine is feeling a little bit stiff, you're going to feel different effects throughout the body. Okay, just draw the knees in. Just a little bit of squeeze them in, a little bit of a side to side sway. Reach out through the left leg, draw the right knee in. Take a deep breath into the abdomen. And now using your belt, extend the right leg up to the sky. Extend the heel up to the sky. Press your sit bones towards the front of the mat and draw your arm bones back to the floor. Take a breath or two. This is such a lovely stretch to do. Well, I do this nearly every day at the beginning of the day, but also at the end of the day. It's just a real gentle stretch. You know, right now I'm feeling a whole lot of warmth coming up through the back of the legs. It feels good. It feels like it's opening and just opening some of that tension. Okay, put the belt into the right hand, put the right elbow onto the ground, reach that foot out to the right side. Left hand comes onto the left hip, just to stop it rolling up. Lengthen out through the inner thigh, let that inner thigh muscle, the adductors, lengthen, so increasing the distance between the groin and the inside of the knee. And then come back to center. And now just taking the foot across the body a few inches. Don't roll the hips, we'll do that in the next pose. So basically we're just lengthening the outside of the right leg. Pushing into the belt, spread the toes. Bring your awareness back to the neck and the shoulders. Make sure you're not holding tension there, just let it go. Take the breath down into the abdomen. Okay, bring it back to center, put the belt to the side, knee in. And then put the foot on top of the thigh and just rolling over and just coming into a simple twist. Again, just breathing into the abdomen. And then come back to center. And then draw both knees in. And straighten through the right leg, draw the left knee in, just do the same little sequence. Belt around the sole of the foot, straight leg, reach up through the heel, sit bones point towards the front of your mat, arms back into their sockets. So if you're ever trying to, practice yoga on your own, after a few years, you hopefully have a repertoire of different poses and sequences that and sometimes it's really good just to get on your mat and just see what happens. And because what happens there is, you go within your limits you know, you haven't got a set goal in mind, and you work with your energies, and the idea is to, you know, balance the energies, not to be too high, not to be too low, not to wear yourself out too much. Put the belt into the left hand, reach it out to the side of the left elbow on the ground, right hand on top of the hip. Just reaching out through that sole of the foot. And bring it back to center, swap hands. Okay, just a little bit of a deviation of the foot across the body. Anchor that left hip down to the ground, reach out through the foot. And so when we do this, it's you know, it becomes very exploratory. You know, without that rigidness, we start to really feel what the body needs. As long as we're not too, you know, we got to be slightly aloof in our practice. You know, when we come up against the resistance, we don't just avoid it. We embrace it and just be very careful and compassionate with ourselves when we come up against a bit of resistance. We just breathe into it, ease into it, bring the knee back into the chest, the belt to the side, squeeze the knee in, take a deep breath into the abdomen. Just let the shoulders go, let the face go. You know, sometimes the body will call to be, you know, sometimes it will want to be in poses for a long time, sometimes not so long. So you just be aloof from that attachment and aversion to certain things, and just feeling the energies and the flow of the energy in the body. Take that foot and place it on the right thigh. Let's twist over to the right hand side, reach the hand out to the left. Feel the spine lifting up out of the hips, breathing. And then come back to center, knees into the chest, head up towards the knees, and then just roll up to a sit. Hands together, sweep the hands up, reach the hands up. Let the upper palate just release, let the back of the shoulders release. And then reach the hands out to the side, and then big step out to the right, sweep the hands over. So the left hand reaches out over to the right, and we bury the left sit bone down into the ground. And then come back up and just forward fold, either staying on the hands or coming down onto the elbows. It can be really nice just to put the head on the edge of a standing block and just let the head rest unrepentantly into the block. Let the stodgy brain mass fall to the front of the skull. Breathing. And then coming up, reaching the feet out in front of you, and then sitting up nice and tall, and just lift up, and just getting a little bit of warmth and activation through the core. Keep the head high, keep the chest high, spread the toes, and then left shin in front of right shin. Sweep the hands up, press them up towards the sky, Let the upper palate just release. Let the sit bones just bury down into the mat. Reach those palms higher. And sweep the hands out. Big step out to the left. Sweep the right hand over. Pressing that right sit bone into the ground. Reach out through the right fingertips. Nice deep breathing. Imagine your diaphragm or your tummy is like one of those blacksmith's bellows. So as you inhale, you're drawing in all that air, and then as you exhale, you feel those bellows close and push the air out. And then come back to center, fold forwards again. Use the block if you want. If you don't have a block, just let the head release, close the eyes. Just let the head release to where it is comfortable. And then slowly coming up. Reaching the feet out in front of us. Slide the left foot up beside your body, toes pointing backwards, and squaring your hips. If you're super tight, sit a block or whatever it is, a towel, blanket, cushion underneath the hips, and that's going to make it a lot easier. So I'll demonstrate with the block just to begin with. We're going to place the hands behind us, and we're just going to slowly start to open up through the front of that left hip. Make sure your feet aren't turned out like this. This is unhealthy for your knee and potentially dangerous. So depending on your flexibility, you can just come back onto the elbows. This can feel like it can feel really intense, but it's also a fantastic stretch because it opens up the deep front hip area, which we don't get a lot of attention in. That's probably why it feels really uncomfortable right now. So you just come down to wherever you are comfortable. If you like, you can, if you are flexible enough, you can come back into our half Supta Virasana, reaching out through the hands. I haven't done this for a while actually, so it feels really kind of tight. Let's put it that way. If you engage your hamstring, squeeze your hamstring a little bit, that'll help switch off the quad. And if you squeeze your buttocks a little, that'll also help switch it off and just get a little bit deeper. Okay, when you're in your own time, just come up and then come back into staff pose, back into Dandasana, and then switch legs. And then, if you're really tight and you're on a block and this is all you can do, then I'm sure it's actually doing something. Just the fact that you're feeling that stretch through the quad is going to be great. So don't feel bad if you can't come all the way back. But opening up the quads is actually something that's very helpful in yoga. It helps you sit cross-legged a lot easier. And it's also very therapeutic for your back. As long as you don't overdo this pose. If you can't come down onto your back, don't force yourself. See, I can feel that this right side's much tighter than my left. So for me, just in that observation, then I know that I'm having that knowledge that I'm tighter through this side is going to be helpful in balancing out my yoga practice. Soften through the jaw, breathing. And then when you're ready, slowly coming up. Just coming back into staff pose. And then cross the legs underneath your body and just come up into a downward facing dog. And bend the knees, lift the bottom up nice and high, and actually I'm going to straighten out through the legs, and I'm just going to bend deeply through my left knee and drop my right heel to the ground, poking my sit bones, my bottom, up and back towards the corner where the wall meets the ceiling. So it's called the cornice. You're going to poke your bum to that area there. Swap sides. Bend deeply through the right knee, straighten through the left leg. And then I'm just going to roll over into plank and drop down onto my knees, and just having a bit of a break in our easy up dog. And then just coming back into a child's pose. I'm starting to generate a little bit of heat in my body, so I'm just going to come down. I'm feeling like it's a good place to be in child's pose right now. And then just coming up on into downward dog again. And lift your right foot up to the sky, and then bring it underneath the body and out to the left side, and just come down onto the outside of your right hip. Lift your chest and turn it towards the front of your mat. So you're in a bit of a twisted position with the torso. And you can stay here. This is a good stretch as it is. But if you want to add a little bit more, I'm going to thread the left hand underneath the body, reaching out the right hand in front of me, and coming down. This is one of my favorite stretches for post massage work. You know, I get so tied up through the upper body just from working in a certain way. And this seems to really just unwind that tension from those deep muscles around the spine and the upper back. Can't even talk, it feels so good. Alright, everyone come back up into downward dog and we'll get ready to do the other side. Okay, left foot lifts up and reach to the right foot, reach that left foot out to the right side. So the hands are like they're in downward dog, and then we twist the chest so they're facing forwards. And then just walking the left hand forwards, right hand reaches underneath, and just releasing down. Breathe. Just keep the awareness in the body, so you're not like going to sleep or anything. You want to just keep that awareness, breathing nice and deeply, drawing in fresh prana and oxygen, nourishing the body. And then as you exhale, you're exhaling out that carbon dioxide, toxins, metabolic wastes, tension, emotional stress, and letting it all go. And then come back to center, down dog. Come up on the tiptoes, firm the thighs, draw the kneecaps up, and then drop the heels, pointing that bottom towards the corner, the top corner of the room. And then just step forwards. Spread the toes, hands to the shins, lengthen the spine, and then release down, just letting yourself Release to the floor. Feel the weight come through the heels. Drop the bottom and then reach up into chair pose. Reach out through the elbows, hands are in front of the head. And then exhale, release. Inhale, come back up. Put the hands together so the pinky and the side of the hands are together. Cup the hands, and then it's like you got your heart in the hands and you're offering it to the sky or to the Supreme, and you're gazing up towards the hands, and then you're diving down again. Inhale, side of the hands together, cup them like you have your heart in the hands, offering it up to the divine, gazing towards the hands, and then exhale. Hands to the shins, halfway lift, and then release. Inhale, come all the way up, reverse swan dive, and exhale, just coming back to mountain pose. Big toes together, heels slightly apart. So sometimes we need to generate a little bit of heat in the body just to help move stagnation. It's kind of like melting different things in the body to get that blood moving, that energy moving. If we don't have that heat, things stay in that solid state and they don't move. So inhale, sweep up. Exhale, dive down. We're not going to do heaps of sun sweeps, we're just going to do enough. And then hands to the floor. We're going to step the right foot back. We're going to start in a low lunge, reaching out through the back foot. Just taking a nice deep in-breath. And an out breath, just let everything go. And then on the next inhale, down dog. And step the right foot forwards, staying in the lunge. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, let everything go. And then stepping up. Hands to the shins, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, up. And release. Let the upper palate release, let the back of the shoulders soften. Inhale, sweep up. Lift the heart, gaze the thumbs, reach out through the hands, reach out through the feet, and then gaze forwards, keep the chin lifted, leading with the hearts, diving down, folding at the hips, release the head. Hands to the shins, halfway. And then hands to the floor, left leg back. Same little thing. So we're in a lunge. So, and then downward dog. And then left foot steps forwards. And then right foot steps forwards. Hands to the shins, halfway lift. And release. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, let the top of the palate release, shoulders release. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Hands to shins, halfway lift. And then hands to the floor, step or hop back into plank, down into chaturanga. Roll over the toes, drop the tailbone and spiral the spine up, feeling the heart reaching in between the gate of the arms And then downward facing dog. Take 5 breaths in downward facing dog. Just feeling that breath, observing the body, not getting too caught up with the suggestions of the mind. Let the back of the neck soften, let the back of the shoulders in between the shoulder blades broaden. And then drop the knees, look forwards, step or hop forwards. Hands to the shins, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, up. And exhale, back to the beginning. Inhale again. Exhale, fold. Hands to shins, halfway lift. Hands forward, step or hop back. And chaturanga. Tailbone dives, chest lifts, press the hands, straight arms. And down dog. Take 5 breaths in downward facing dog. Make sure the jaw is soft. And then when you're ready, stepping or hopping forwards. Hands to shins, halfway lift. And release. And inhale, come up. And floating back to the beginning. Drop the knees, reach the hands out in front of you. Sweep those arms up like you're offering your heart again. And then exhale, fold. Hands to the shins. Hands to the floor, step or hop back. Plank. Just let yourself flow. Push the backs of the feet into the floor, down dog. Turn the left foot out, step the right foot up. We're going to come into warrior one. Feet are firmly pressing into the floor. Side of the hands touching. Let's offer that heart up to the sky. And then down, hands to the floor, chaturanga. We're only going to do one of these Surya Namaskar Bs, so make the most of it. Drop the hips, lift the chest, gaze towards the nose. Down dog. Right foot steps out, left foot steps up. Sweeping up. And then down, chaturanga. Up dog. And downward dog. 5 breaths in down dog. Keep the spine long from the coccyx all the way to the crown of the head. Keep it open, keep it long. Breathe. And exhaling, bend the knees, step up, inhale, hands to shins, exhale, fold, inhale, come up, and release. Just staying where you are, and then feet hip width apart. We're going to spread the elbows apart and right elbow over the left. Drop the shoulders away from the ears, lift the elbows, pull the forearms away from the face. Bend your knees, send your bottom backwards, and just starting to bring the elbows in towards the navel, tuck the chin. Round that upper back a little. And inhale, slowly coming up. That feels good. And then the left arm over the right. And then coming down. Breathing is deep. Relax. The focus is on the breath. It's a relaxed focus, nothing too rigid. The breath is just coming in and out of the body in a deep, relaxed way. It's very even. Tuck your tailbone, tuck your chin. Inhale, come up. Spread those arms and release. Inhale, lift up. Exhale. Hands to the floor. We're just going to incorporate some standing poses. Halfway lift. Hands to the floor. Step or hop back. Chaturanga. Up dog. And downward facing dog. Right leg steps up to the, right leg lifts up to the sky. As high as you can with a straight leg. Then bend the knee. And then turn and gaze underneath your right armpit. Reach through the arms. Relax the front of your throat. Step the right foot up. Turn the back heel to the ground. Windmill up into warrior two. Bend through deeply through the front knee. Line the heels up. Back leg is nice and straight. Imagine those feet are anchored down and then you're sort of lifting up out of the hips, gazing towards the front middle finger. Turn the front palm up. Gaze towards the back foot, sweep it over, just reach out through that top hand and create space through the right side of the body. And then straight through the front leg. Bring the back foot in slightly, just a bit of a shimmy in. And then with the front straight leg nice and firm, you're going to reach over, swinging your bottom towards the back heel and then come up into triangle pose. Top hands as though it's the palm of the hand is pushing against the wall. This helps to send the shoulder blade down the back a little bit. Breathe. And then we're going to reach that left hand over, gaze towards the front big toe. And then hands to the floor, downward facing dog. And pinch the feet together, left leg lifts up, straight leg. And then we bend the knee and we just come over into three-legged dog. Relax the neck, tuck the tailbone slightly. Reach through those arms. And then step that left leg up. Warrior two on the other side. Pressing the feet firmly into the ground. particularly the front big toe and the back edge of the back foot. Breathing. And then reverse warrior, gaze towards the back foot. And then sweep it over, bring your back foot in slightly, so shortening the stance. Both legs are firm. Reaching over, sending your bottom towards the back heel. And then hand on the shin, the block or the floor. Taking some nice deep breaths. And then reach that right hand over, turn the gaze towards the big toe. Reach, pressing down through the outer edge of that back leg, or the back foot I should say, and reaching out through the right fingertips. And then hands to the floor. Downward dog. And then when you're ready, bend the knees, step forwards. Hands to the shins, halfway lift. And then release. And then inhale, reverse swan dive. And come back to center. Hands onto the hips. Step the left foot back and turn the toes in slightly so the feet are parallel now. Take a deep breath in, lift up the spine almost like you're going to jump out of the mat, and then exhale, fold forwards. Hands underneath the shoulders. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, release. Actually, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn my left foot out, and then I'm just going to lunge over towards the left side. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So you can just stay there on each side if you wish, or you can move a little bit more dynamically if it feels good. Make it conscious movement. And then I'm going to walk my hands towards the back of the mat. I'm going to bring the back knee down. And I'm just going to come up into a half splits. You can stay up on the fingertips or whatever. Keep the chest lifted. And then I'm just going to release forwards. Just dropping the hips. And then lifting the hips, straightening leg, pressing the heel into the floor, lifting the chest a little. And then just dropping in. And now placing the elbows down onto the ground, or stay up on the hands, up to you. Breathing. And then when you're ready, just come up onto the hands. Let's swivel around to the front of the mat and come into that those half split positions. So just rocking back, lifting the hips slightly, pressing the right heel into the ground, lift the chest. And just bending down, drop the hips. And again, just opening up through the front of that hip. And then just coming back. And drop. And now just come down onto the elbows. Just focusing on your breath. And then when you're ready, just come up onto the hands, come back into that wide-legged position. Press down through the inner arches, firm the thighs, draw the kneecaps up, hands to the waist, lift up. Deep breath in, spread the arms. Hands join behind the back. Spread your toes on the ground. Create that firm foundation. Then inhale, arms are sent down towards the ground, heart is lifted, and then exhale, reaching down, lengthening through the sides of the waist. Breathing. And then coming up, take a deep breath in, spread the arms, and then hands back into Anjali Mudra, and then come back to the front of the mat, big toes together. Let's just make a bit of a transition now down onto the ground. Inhale, sweep up, and dive down. Hands to the shins, halfway lift. Hands to the floor, step or hop back. Chaturanga. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Take a moment or two in your downward facing dog. And then let's come down onto the knees and just come into child's pose. And just for this brief moment, just let everything go. Breathing nice and deeply. And just actually, you can even let the breath go for now. Just rest. And then when you're ready, just coming up onto the hands and knees. And we're going to thread the needle. So we're going to reach the right hand up to the sky and then thread the right hand underneath the left. And then we're going to walk this left hand out in front of us or even out to the side a little bit. And that will help give us a bit more leverage. And then we come and onto the side of our head. We have an even weight through the knees. And if you brought this left hand out to the side, you can now push it into the floor. as you turn your gaze and your chest up towards the sky, helping to get a bit of rotation through the thoracic cage. Breathe deeply. Close your eyes. Focus on the breath, and if you have any stuck sensations, bring the awareness to that area and just imagine it opening up and melting like butter. And then come back to center. Just take a moment there in the center position. And then left hand up to the sky. And then thread the needle. Let's do the other side. And bring that right hand slightly out to the side so your elbow is at 9 degrees. And then let's just turn our torso up towards the ceiling. And then when you're ready, just come back to center. Just walking the hands out in front of you, come onto the fingertips, keep the butt over the knees, and then just dropping the head down onto the floor. It's called puppy dog pose. So keep your collarbones broad, keep the space between your shoulders nice and wide, and just letting the crease of the hips deepen. And then when you're ready, you're going to bring the big toes together here, and the knees are going to come wide apart. And you're going to come either onto the elbows, or you can stay in puppy dog pose, and then just sink your bottom back towards the heels. So it's kind of like child's pose, but we're going to get an inside leg stretch as well. And then when you're ready, slowly just coming back, and let's just pop up into downward facing dog. And then roll over into plank, chaturanga, up dog, downward facing dog. And then coming down onto your stomach, and place the shoulders under the elbows underneath the shoulders, And we're going to come into Sphinx. I want you to just listen carefully to some really key instructions with this, because it's really helpful to getting a little bit more space in your back bends. So I want your legs to be strong. I want your legs to be anchored, almost like someone's pinning your back ankles down onto the floor. And bring your awareness to your coccyx bone. Your coccyx bone is going to come heavy. It's like someone's standing on that. And then you're going to try and draw away. So you're pressing your elbows downwards into the ground and drawing them back towards your feet as you reach your heart through the hands. The gaze is still at the nose. Your head wants to be the last thing to come up. So what we're doing is it's almost like we're tractioning, and we will be tractioning the lower back a little bit. So the sacrum and the coccyx are anchored, and you're pulling and creating space through that lower back. Those vertebrae are creating space. And just have a break, come down, just rest the head on the hands. Maybe rock the pelvis from side to side. And then I'm just going to do the same thing again. So legs are anchored, legs are strong. Coccyx, someone's standing on it, and you're trying to drag away. Try and just lifting your heart and lungs through the gates of the arms. Breathing is deep. And release. Everyone just in your own time, push back in the child pose. And take the breath deeply into the lower back. Feel the lower back expanding. And then just coming up into a sit. Okay, just place the left foot on the outside of the right hip and the right foot on the outside of the left knee. Sitting up nice and tall. And reaching up through the left hand and just using your abdominal muscles, twist over to the right. Join the hand, either hug the knee or place the elbow on the outside there. And imagine again, like that same sort of thing that we did with Sphinx, that your coccyx is anchored, and we lift up, lift the spine, create space. Breathing nice and deep. Take the tension out of the shoulders, lengthen the left side of your spine. Don't push it. And slowly unwind, come back to center. Sweep the right hand up and then over. Lengthen up through the right side of the spine, don't push it, breathing. Relax the jaw, relax the shoulders. And come back to center. Okay. Cross the right shin in front of the left shin. Join the hand, hold the elbows behind the back. Take a deep breath in, lift the chest. Keep the gaze towards the nose and just lift the chest. Open the front of the body as much as you can without taking the eyes off the nose. And then keeping the chin poked out, folding at the hips, letting the little pinky side of the feet press firmly into the ground, and just coming down as far as you can comfortably. If you need to rest your head on a block, rest your head on a block. And then inhale, slowly coming up, coming down onto your back. Coming up into an inversion. So just either stay, if it's that time of the month for you, just stay on your mat in Shavasana, or you can put legs up the wall. Legs up the wall is most easiest. If you want to come into half shoulder stand, come into half shoulder stand. So knees come up, we lift, catch our bottom, use our hands as a seat, and we lift the chest. So it's not a full shoulder stand, but if you know that one and you feel safe to do it, then go for it. So you can stay in this one for as long as you can comfortably. If you feel uncomfortable at any time, please just come down. Okay, everyone just coming down nice and gracefully. And then if you wish, you can come into the counter pose, fish pose, Matsyasana. So we squeeze and wriggle our arms underneath the body and reach out through the heels, tipping the hips back, pressing the elbows into the floor, and then we lift the chest, keep the gaze towards the nose, the head starts to slide back, breathing into the chest, nice and deep. releasing down to the ground. Just bring your knees in one last time. Lift the head up to the knees. Squeeze. Lengthen the spine. And then release down to the ground. Extend your feet towards the corners of the mat. Take a couple of breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just let everything go. And then just let everything go. Come into Shavasana. You can let the breath go, you can let any bodily contractions go. Now's the time just to rest. Now's the time to let the body assimilate the changes to your nervous system so you can experience the full benefit of the asana practice. Start to wriggle the fingers and the toes. And just sliding the feet up towards the bottom, reaching the hands over the head. And then just rolling out to the left side, using your upper arm as a pillow. And when you're ready, just come up to a seated position. Okay, so we'll just finish off with some kirtan meditation. So just resting your mind on these beautiful transcendental sounds. So we use the mantra Om Hari Om. Om Hari Om. Om Hari Om. Your turn. Om Hari Om. 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 Your turn. Om Hari Om. 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 Om Namaste everyone. Have a great evening, day, or whenever you will be watching this, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.